Let's look at the process of export. Number one, now I've talked about how to know the product, right? Here he's talking about how do I choose. So if I want to export, Oga said fish. Then you mentioned cocoa. Someone else mentioned spices. Yes, spices. Now, you know why I mentioned all those products? The basis for choosing the product for export, what's the basis for choosing it? You shouldn't just choose a product because you're already producing. You choose a product because it is viable. Am I making sense? Yes. Now, number one, prohibition list. That means I can't choose a product that is prohibited. So what are the items prohibited in Nigeria? Corn is prohibited for export. Unprocessed rubber is prohibited for export. Artifacts and antiquities prohibited for export. Imported item is prohibited for export. Endangered species, animal endangered species like lion, like lizard, like zebra is prohibited for export. Scrap metal is prohibited for export. Now, there are about 10 of them, or 8 to 10 of them are prohibited. So very few products. That means majority of items from Nigeria are allowed for export. Potential market. This product I've decided to choose. What is the demand like? I don't think you should be worrying yourself by a product that you are now having up to 500,000 or $1 billion demand globally. If it's below 500,000, 1 billion, I don't think you should consider it. I don't think so. Unless you really have someone who already showed interest in buying. But if you are now going to be marketing and promoting, the market size is too small. Too small. Potential market. Purchasers. Who are those buying? I need to know those that are buying. If I'm not able to know them and reach them, it shouldn't be a product to consider. Producer. Now, do I have a producer? I told you I export pap, right? But I'm sure you know I don't have a factory. I don't own a factory. What does that mean? I don't need to be the producer of the item I'm exporting. I export broom, the regular broom. You see the regular broom, the native one. Just to paint a picture of your buy or export. I export Indomie noodles. That's common, right? And there's a huge demand for Indomie noodles. Very huge demand. That's very easy. In fact, one of the easiest things to export. Because if you give them money, you get your group within a day or two. You can load it and move to the port and ship. Very easy. Because you are buying from someone. Do you understand? I export pap, I export gari. Gari is also a very good one. The regular gari, in 20 kg bag, very good one. Very good one. But very dry. Very dry. Very good one. Now, I mentioned all those products because of what? Producer. Meaning, I will have to rely on the producer to produce for me. So that means if I'm choosing a product, I'm have a producer. If I'm not producing myself, then I must have what? A producer. That should be a basis for determining. If I don't have a producer that can produce, and if you have a producer, it's good if you have to. Particularly if you want to do contract manufacturing. Because that means they are producing for me in my name. I'm not exporting it in their name. They can produce for me in my name. So madam is doing spices. He can produce spices for you in your name. Now, if you do it for me in your name, it's good you have 2 or 3. Why? So, if for any reason she's not able to meet with your demand, you have other people that can produce the same, but they must all have the certification you require, at least basic minimum, NAFTA, minimum. But you might not want to get hazard analysis and critical control point, or ISO certification. Those are the things that help in the market access. Purchasing power. Don't just say you want to export a product. Ask, how much do I need to export this item? Commodities are typically capital intensive. Agro commodities are capital intensive. Why? A ton of cocoa at some point was more than 10 million naira. 70. You see? And it used to be very low. Same for cashew, ginger. In fact, shea butter now, because of this price of cocoa, look at the dynamics of international trade. For those doing chocolate, they use cocoa butter. Because of the high cost of because of the high cost of cocoa beans, they now shifted to shea butter. So shea butter price has gone up. Shea butter price has gone up. Shea butter price now is about 8,000. People are selling as much as $7,000-8,000 per metric ton. Why? Because of this same issue. purchasing power. So it's good to know the purchasing power. Profitability. It's not enough to have purchasing power. It's even profitable, which is why it's good to know all the cost elements involved. The documentation cost, the product cost, logistic cost, warehousing cost, clearing cost, and if you are going to be doing CFR, if you are doing FOB, you will be bearing the cost of freight. But if you are doing CFR cost and freight, you are bearing the cost of freight to destination. That means you need to know the cost of freight to destination. Procurement personnel. We're in Lagos. Some of these communities are outside Lagos. And sometimes you might not be able to go there and you need people that you can send there or people that you know there that will help you procure. If you don't get power, what are the documentation required in the export market? Now, these are what is expected for you to know in order to be able to choose the product. Not just knowing the product, but to be able to choose. So that means I can have a 2-3 options that I know, but I'm choosing based on this information.